Commander Zefix's mandibles clicked in amusement as the holographic message from Earth dissolved into static. Around the circular war chamber, the assembled representatives of the galactic hegemony erupted in chittering laughter, their various alien physiologies trembling with mirth. "Surrender unconditionally within 72 standard hours," wheezed General Krex, his tentacles writhing with barely contained hilarity. "Or face the consequences of total war." The mollusk's voice dripped with derision. These humans certainly have an inflated sense of their capabilities. Admiral Vorthak, her crystalline carapace gleaming under the chamber's lights, raised one of her forearms dismissively. "They've been in space for what, barely 2 centuries? We've been waging interstellar conflict since before their son was born." The War Council chamber aboard the massive dreadnought, Eternal Dominion, buzzed with the multilingual chatter of 14 different species, each more ancient and technologically advanced than the upstart humans of Terra. The hegemony had crushed countless civilizations across 3 galactic arms. Earth would be no different. "Their fleet composition is laughable," reported Intelligence Chief Morlin, his reptilian features twisted in contempt. 57 vessels total. We have 12,000 ships in this sector alone." He gestured toward the tactical display showing Earth's paltry defense force, crude metal constructs compared to the hegemony's biomechanical leviathans. Commander Zefix's compound eyes gleamed with predatory satisfaction. "Begin the advance. We'll demonstrate the futility of their resistance by glassing their moon first. Let them watch their satellite burn before we—" The communications array erupted in urgent alerts. Officer Tylex's voice cracked across the chamber. "Sir, long-range sensors are detecting massive energy signatures throughout the system. Unknown configuration." "Impossible," Admiral Vorthak snapped. "Our intelligence confirms only their known fleet assets." The main display flickered, then stabilized to show the outer edge of the solar system. Where empty space should have been, massive structures materialized, not ships but something far more ominous. Geometric platforms, each the size of a small moon, hung in the void like sleeping titans awakening. "What are those?" General Krex's tentacles had stopped writhing. Chief Morlin's claws scraped against his console as he frantically analyzed the data. They're stellar engineering platforms. Mass drivers. Kinetic bombardment arrays. His voice dropped to a whisper. "They've weaponized their asteroid belt." The laughter died completely. Commander Zefix felt his exoskeleton tighten as the implications became clear. "How many platforms?" "Scanning now." "Sir, I'm reading over 300 major installations, each one capable of accelerating projectiles to significant fractions of light speed." On the display, the human fleet, those 57 primitive vessels, suddenly made sense. They weren't warships. They were coordinators, targeting platforms for a weapons grid that spanned the entire star system. Admiral Vorthak's crystalline voice had lost all trace of mirth. "Evasive maneuvers. All ships scatter formation." But it was already too late. The first projectile wasn't visible until it struck. A tungsten rod, no larger than a shuttlecraft moving at 12% of light speed. It punched through the Eternal Dominion's shields as if they were gossamer, vaporized 3 decks, and exited through the stern, leaving a perfectly circular hole that began venting atmosphere into space. Then the real bombardment began. The tactical display became a constellation of death, as hundreds of projectiles converged on the hegemony fleet from impossible angles. The humans had turned physics itself into their weapon. No energy shields could deflect solid matter moving at relativistic speeds. No armor could withstand the kinetic forces involved. Ships that had conquered star systems cracked like eggs. The dreadnought inevitable victory simply ceased to exist as 3 rods struck it simultaneously, converting matter to energy in a brilliant flash that briefly outshone the distant sun. "Retreat," Commander Zefix screamed, but his words were lost in the chaos. Half his fleet was already gone, and more projectiles were incoming. Launched from platforms they couldn't even see, guided by targeting systems distributed across an entire star system. General Krex's flagship attempted to jump to hyperspace, and discovered the humans had thought of that too. Gravity wells projected by hidden installations locked the surviving ships in place, ensuring each one received its precisely calculated dose of kinetic death. The communication channels erupted with a single transmission, broadcast on all frequencies. The same human voice that had delivered their demands now spoke with quiet authority. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Force. We gave you 72 hours. You chose to advance after 6. We are not a species that builds walls to hide behind. We build systems to ensure threats never reach our worlds in the first place. Your surviving vessels have exactly 60 seconds to transmit unconditional surrender, or the second wave launches. Commander Zefix looked at his tactical display. Of the 12,000 ships that had entered the system, fewer than 800 remained operational. The humans hadn't even moved their fleet from Earth orbit. How? Admiral Vorthak's voice was barely a whisper. Chief Moreland's analysis painted a picture that chilled every being in the chamber. They've been building this for decades. Hollowed-out asteroids, kinetic platforms disguised as mining operations targeting networks embedded in their comm satellites. Their entire system is one massive weapons platform. The 60 seconds ticked down with mechanical precision. They turned their solar system into a fortress, Commander Zefix realized, his mandibles clicking with something that was no longer amusement. Not to hide behind, to strike from. With 5 seconds remaining, he opened the surrender channel. Later, as the remnants of the hegemony fleet limped away under Terran escort, Admiral Chen's words would echo through every war college in the galaxy. You laughed at our demands because you counted our ships. You should have counted our rocks. The humans hadn't just won a battle. They had redefined what it meant to control space itself. And across the galaxy, other species began to recalculate what it meant to threaten Earth.